Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to read to you my Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the uh, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali was one of the greatest uh, teachers of yoga that ever was. He was one of the greatest. Patanjali is a genius, a giant. He was one of the great masters that articulated the practice of yoga. And he has this very famous historic work that is called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which I have studied for many years and translated in English language. And I'm going to read you the concluding part of my translations in English. Part 4, the first verse. Psychic energies and potentials spring from birth. Special plans, mantras, mortifications, and meditation are concentration. 2. Changes or transformations across conditions and classifications of being is by the powered movement of creative appearance. 3. Creative appearance is not set in motion by auxiliary causes, but by cleaning blockages and hindrances. Just like the diligent farmer rids his farmland of rocks to enable irrigation. As you listen to these sutras, don't bother at all if it sounds like Greek or German or Chinese or Japanese for the Nigerian thinker. Just go right along with the teachings. After a while, you will begin to digest and understand them. So when you sent your children to kindergarten, they didn't just come back reciting the ABCs. If they did, you'd be scared to death. So you teach them the A's and they write them upside down, and the B's and the C's, right? But after writing the letters upside down for a while, they begin to get it right. So a study like this is very profound, trying to introduce you to a profound study. You just jump straight into it. I want you to do that for me. The way your daughter or your son jumps into their ABCs and writes them wrongly, but you are very excited that your child is writing. After a while, you get the A's and the B's right. Your kids eventually get their ABCs right. They don't get it right on the first day. So when you learn something new, it's like a new language. You just jump right into it and then you develop. Created manifold consciousnesses spring from egoism and egoism alone. That's the fourth verse. I'm going to the fifth. Though these manifold individual and unique minds engage in diverse, innumerable actions and deeds, one supreme mind is the creator of each and every mind. 6. Among these, the consciousness born of meditation is desireless, free from all craving, liberated from stored karma. 7. The desires of a yogi, in other words, the karma of a yogi, are neither white nor black, neither good nor bad. But regarding all other being, desires are threefold: white, black, and blended, or simply good, bad, and mixed. 8. From these follow the appearance, which certainly amount to the fruition of karma. Karma always follow desires, each and every desire. Karma always follow desires, each and every desire. 9. Due to the attractive attributes, due to the attractive attributes and characteristics of memory, ideas, and appearances of the mind, there is a strong, consistent relationship between cause and effect, despite the possibility of change, again and again in physical appearance by birth, time, and space. 10. The craving to exist and continue to exist is infinite and boundless, and the manifold patterns of reasoning leading to disintegrating personalities, leading to distinguishing personalities and characteristics are ageless and timeless. I take it again. The craving to exist and continue to exist is infinite and boundless, and the manifold patterns of reasoning leading to distinguishing personalities and characteristics are ageless and timeless. Highlight those words. Ageless and timeless. I like those words. 11. Assembled, connected, bound together by cause and effect. Highlight cause and effect. Vital basics and various entities. When these things vanish, everything vanishes, nothing remains. All those things I'm telling you to highlight as time goes on, uh, you will understand why we're highlighting them because they are important. These are words that are going to lead you ultimately to enlightenment. 12. There's past and there's future in any entity, basically due to the obvious contrast or dissimilarity on the courses of their appearance. 13. Manifested or otherwise, these appearances consist of gunas. In other words, strands in Sanskrit, energetic forces that interact quite closely to form the world and all existence therein. 14. From the unity in changes arises the unity in everything. 15. And though the external material entity is the same, craving changes and discernment changes according to changing minds. 16. No one entity depends directly on a single mind for its being. Otherwise, if that mind failed to cognize it, what then? Would it be inexistent? 17. Objects appear to the mind or disappear from the mind depending on the degree of radiance or hue which they transmit to their mind. 18. Appearing mind states may always be known as the master of the mind is always the same, forever as is. 19. Mind, unique and existing as an entity, is not self-luminous. Mind, unique and existing as an entity, is not self-luminous. 20. For the mind simply cannot perceive or know two or more things simultaneously. 21. If we assume another perceiving mind, we would end up with manifold, boundless assumptions and confusion of memories. 22. Awareness becomes visible to the mind itself as intelligence and understanding when in that shape in which it is unchangeable. When in that shape in which it is unchangeable. I take it again. Awareness becomes visible to the mind itself as intelligence and understanding when in that shape in which it is unchangeable. 23. Colored by the observer and the observed, the mind is able to grasp all things. Colored by the observer and the observed, the mind is able to grasp all things. The mind, through its boundless craving, acts not for itself but for another, being of complex appearance. 25. There is no more confounding of mind and self for the enlightened. There is no more confounding of mind and self for the enlightened. 26. And now the mind, ever aspiring for enlightenment, gravitates onwards towards absolute freedom. And now the mind, ever aspiring for enlightenment, gravitates onward toward absolute freedom. 27. Distractions occur due to disruptive thought streams when training is irregular. In other words, when practice is inconsistent. 28. The extirpation of the disruptive thought streams is akin to that of pain and suffering earlier expounded. 29. To the yogi who remains fully focused, fully concentrated, without interest, even in omniscience, there comes the perfect enlightenment known as divine cloud. Divine cloud, the cloud of goodness, the cloud of holiness. This is the upshot of clear understanding. This is the upshot of clear understanding. 30. And now follows the ultimate liberation. And now follows the ultimate liberation. Absolute freedom from cause and effect. Absolute freedom from cause and effect. I want you to highlight cause and effect and absolute freedom. You'll understand these things as you progress in your meditation. Absolute freedom from pain and suffering. Highlight. Absolute freedom from pain and suffering. 31. Now knowledge becoming overwhelming and boundless, stripped of concealment and all imperfection, the yet unknown becomes dwarfed, diminished. The yet unknown becomes dwarfed, diminished. 32. Then follows the termination of successive changes in the qualities and characteristics of all interacting forces and all things, for the goal of their existence has been achieved. For the goal of their existence has been achieved. 33. Successive metamorphosis happens every second. Successive metamorphosis happens every second, but is observable only at the termination of a series. Finally, 34. Ultimately, when the qualities and characteristics terminate metamorphotic relations with consciousness, they proceed into dormancy, basically, like hashed eggshells, and the divine personality within arises like sunshine and shines like sunshine, reigning forever as pure awareness, dwelling always in infinite freedom, boundless and absolute. I take this last verse again. Very, very important. And you want to spend most of your meditation really concentrating. This last verse, in fact, summarizes the whole of the sutras. It tells you everything about the sutras. We'll go into that later. I think it is a very powerful verse, and if you concentrate on it for one whole hour, you'll really begin to understand everything about this life. I'll take that last verse one more time. Ultimately, when the qualities and characteristics terminate metamorphotic relations with consciousness, they proceed into dormancy, basically, like hashed eggshells, and the divine personality within arises like sunrise and shines like sunshine, reigning forever as pure awareness, dwelling always in infinite freedom, boundless and absolute. And that is the end of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So, folks, I really highlighted this last verse. There is something very important I would like you to learn. You want to really spend a lot of time. If you practice your meditation, you want the whole of life is summarized in the last verse, because it's telling you everything that goes on ultimately. And I told you again, the philosophy of the hen. When our mothers gave birth to us, it's like a hen laying the egg. So what you see, the physical human being you see, the physical entity of man, is the eggshell. It's not the person himself. So those people that concentrate on the physical as the person himself, what happens to them? They die. As simple as all that, because the physical being perishes. The physical, all physical, biology tells us all that lives must die. Biology is not talking about spirit realm. Science doesn't deal with spirit realm. Science deals with observation, okay? Practical observation. So biology is telling you all that lives dies because it's telling you about the flesh, the material, the biological person, the material person. But then yoga, what we're doing here, takes you from the biological, the material, to the spiritual. The material is an opportunity to study and understand the spiritual. The reason why we come to this world is not to live and die. Those are people who didn't study, who are negligent. The reason why we come to this world is to live and live forever. We don't live and die. We live and live forever. That's why you do yoga. So when you're doing yoga, you begin to concentrate, like going to school. When you go to school, you learn your ABCs. You become a literate person. The person that does not go to school is an illiterate. The person cannot read and cannot write. It's the same thing with yoga. So when you come to yoga, you begin to see the invisible. You begin to see your higher self. You begin to appreciate your higher life. You begin to understand the greater self. Life is an opportunity for studying, getting to know yourself, the study of the self, the greater self. You study yourself in degrees: first degree, second degree, third degree, right? You start studying yourself. That's life. You begin to advance. So those people don't pay attention, they don't practice yoga, they're just ignorant. When you practice, you begin to understand from the body to the spirit. That's what that last verse is saying. I'll take it again. You see, if you have me take it 100 times, I will. It's very powerful. You want to concentrate on it. I'll read it to your hearing again. Verse 34. Ultimately, when the qualities and characteristics terminate metamorphotic relations with consciousness, they proceed into dormancy, basically, like hashed eggshells, and the divine personality within arises like sunrise and shines like sunshine, reigning forever as pure awareness, dwelling always in infinite freedom, boundless and absolute. So that's it. So we see we are caged at this time, where we're in the flesh, the soul, the body and soul. The chick is still inside the egg, unhatched. So at the end of the day, when there's this hatching takes place, this body finally disintegrates, it releases the spirit. We move into the infinite and boundless and absolute freedom. Uh, 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 this is the great teaching of the great sage Patanjali. What has to happen here is you have to do your meditation. Maybe I'm trying to do your homework for you, and I have to leave you to do your homework. You have to sit and contemplate, reflect, and meditate on these things, and you'll gain profound understanding, just like I have. Just like Patanjali and all the students of yoga who have studied these teachings have. Cheers and have a pleasant day.